Hello everybody, I am Baltmatrix, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Gamer Edition Megatron. Now, I would be remiss if I don't bring up the original figure. The original figure, and compared to this one, well, they're very different. And it is amazing what 13 years brings you. In this video review, I am not going to compare this figure to the original. I don't think that's fair. We're talking about a completely different time, and we're also talking about a completely different economy. And I mean that in like the worldwide economy. The world was very, very different in 2010 than it is in 2023. So, that being said, this figure is interesting. I think the figure is beautifully painted. The purple and the dark colors all work incredibly well, and even the dark red also work incredibly well. Yes, in the games, the figure, or Megatron, was much chunkier. I mean, he was a large lad, big and beefy, but I actually like this thinner version of Megatron better. I don't know why that is. I just like this thinner version a little bit better because that game version always looked off to me. In fact, all the designs in the games from that time period all look too chunky to be able to move. I think that was the big thing. They just look too big to be able to move well. The figure comes with two accessories, one being his fusion cannon, which we'll talk about in a minute, and two, his Energon Mace, which, I gotta say, I would get this figure just for the Energon Mace. This thing is great. It does break off into two different pieces, and you can kind of wield it around, or wield it on both ends, but it's fantastic. It's one of the best accessories, or I should say one of my favorite accessories we've gotten in a while on any figure. It's just really cool. I really do like the overall aesthetic of this figure, but I will admit that it's not exactly the same as it is in the game. It's very strange. How do I say this? He's molded differently than he would be in the game, which is odd. In the game, he does not have this, and in the game, he doesn't have these thrusters bits coming off his legs, and, well, he's bit pointier and chubbier in the game. The other accessory is the fusion cannon, and I absolutely hate the design of this fusion cannon. Yes, it is game accurate, but it looks terrible, and I didn't like it in the game either. That is, until you turn it around. There, that looks like Megatron's fusion cannon. I know, that is so silly, right? This thing is supposed to be game accurate, but the fusion cannon in the game is terrible looking, but you turn it around and it's fine. It's just so weird. So for me, I just have him with the cannon turned around. Now there is one positive to the cannon being in the way that the game is. You could stick the mace in there. It just looks so silly. I cannot argue with the paint quality, though. I think the paint quality is excellent on this figure, especially compared to some of the figures we've been getting. It's really nice, and I love that dark Energon purple that's permeating the figure. That's very nice in the front of the figure. In the back, there's nothing. We got nothing. Posability for Megatron is okay. We'll talk about some problems the figure has, though. Head is on a ball joint, but it can only swivel side to side. It can't look up and down. Both shoulders are on swivels and hinges for lots of movement. Each arm has a double elbow. There's an elbow just at the bottom of the shoulder/bicep, and then there's an elbow at the back of the forearm for both arms. And then, like all the other Gamer Edition figures, the arm pops off, specifically the right arm. There is a place to store the right arm on this guy, and it's just like Prime, right on his arse. Right there. And I'm sorry, that looks like he's just about to give himself a good time. There is a torso swivel, which works fine. Legs can kick plenty far forward. I mean, look at that. That's crazy. And then the same back. I mean, he could practically put it over his own head. And then it could kick up over 90 degrees. I'm trying to get the arm out of the way so I can show you. And then we come to the knees. All right, let's look at this incredible articulation. That's it. That's as far as it goes. And that's all she wrote. And then the feet have forward and back tilt for part of the transformation, a little bit of tilt inward, and then a whole lot of tilt outward. Why? I would think you would want to have the tilt inward be more, as opposed to outward. That's just bad design. And speaking of bad design, the hell is with this knee? Why is this designed like this? Because, look, there are these little pieces that are coming off the back of the knees. Specifically, that. Right there. I don't know why that's there. I suspect it's for taking part of the tank mode and snapping it in place. But the snap doesn't occur there. It occurs inside the leg. So what the hell is this doing here? I suspect that this was a very different figure at one point, and these pieces are just a carryover from that original design. Now, you can get more posability by unpegging the back of the leg and then moving the leg like that, but then that looks really stupid. So unfortunately, in the legs, the posability is greatly hampered because of stupid. That's the only thing I could come up with. Just a bad design decision. Alright, size comparison time. Studio Series 102 Optimus Prime, Studio Series ROTB Rhinox, Tigatron, Siege Soundwave, 86 Ironhide, Kingdom Dinobot, Gamer Edition Deluxe Barricade, Gamer Edition Deluxe Class Cliffy J, who's just a repaint of Bumblebee, and Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. Now, having these two next to each other, you can see the difference in bulk between Megatron and Optimus Prime. In the games, they were both of equal size and stature. But here, you could see, yes, they're the same height, but Megatron is much skinnier than Prime. I mean, Prime is just a honkin' beast of a toy. Yes, he's full of holes, but thankfully third parties have released fixes for that. All right, let's go ahead and get into the transformation. To start off with, we're going to take each arm and open up this panel that is on each arm and fold in the fists. Oh, speaking of fists, why don't these swivel? Why don't they articulate? Did they run out of room? Could they not fit a swivel in there? I really feel like there's no excuse for why there is no swivel on the hands. I mean, Prime's hands has swivels. So anyway, open up the panels on both arms and fold in the fists. Now, on the left shoulder, point the little forky thing straight, flip up this piece, and then use that double hinge to bring the arm up like that. On the right arm, just straighten it out, snap it into place, and leave it where it is. Next, we'll come to the chest and pull it away from the figure like that, and fold it all the way down. Then take the right arm and flip it forward in front of the robot's face. And there are these two peg holes, or slots, right there, and they will connect into these two pegs. And getting them lined up, it's not hard, it's just really annoying, because you end up getting one lined up, and I'm sorry, it's kitty dinner time, so if you hear the cats meowing, that's why. It is frustrating to get this lined up and pegged in, but you can do it. It'll look like that. No, that does not look good at all. Come to the backpack of the figure and fold the fence down, and then grab the entire fence section and pull it up, and then take that entire fork fence and turn around 180 degrees. Then that'll allow you to grab the other arm, the right arm, and fold it in, and you can then snap it into place, and it will snap into place on that little peg right there. And then there are two pegs on the butt, which we talked about before, and those will peg into the arm pegs, and it's gonna be weird. Oh, there's also a peg hole right back here that the upper arm will snap into, so snap that in first, and then get the pegs in, and we're done with the arms. So we've got him sandwiched on both sides by his own arms. Next, come down to the feet and grab these heels and flip them all the way up. Now we'll come to the feet and fold the toes down as far as they will go. Reach inside on the back of the figure and pull out the actual back of the legs. Once you have them 90 degrees out, you can fold out the thrusters like that and like that. And then take the foot, fold it on its ankle rocker outwards, and then push it in to the foot, and then rotate the rest of that bit around, push that down, push the foot down, and then fold that heel in to, well, close up the side there, and then take the leg and turn it so that the pointy bit is pointing, or this pointing knee, I should say, is pointing in. And then we'll take that whole section and that will fold up at the knee and come all the way over. Now, this is kind of hard. It's not easy. There is a peg on the outside of the forearm at the top of the turret that will peg into where my finger is right there. Then there are these slots underneath that will catch and rest on these pegs. And there's a peg hole at the tip that will get pegged into by the cowl catcher. Do they have cowls in Cybertron? I doubt it. It's hard the first time. It really is, because you have to have the hips and the knees have to be perfectly lined up. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. But if they're perfectly lined up, like we've done here, they just slot right in. On the other leg, I'll show you a slight difference in steps for the transformation. Turn the knee, come to the one thruster and flip it up. And the smaller of the two thrusters is really hard to move. Take the bigger thruster and move that up. Make sure the toe is collapsed and open that up. Fold the foot in. Flip that section around, the back of the leg around, and then close it up. And then unpeg it from the knee and flip it all the way around. And just make sure everything lines up. And undoubtedly, you will have done something that gets something knocked out of place. You just will. It's a very fidgety transformation that I'm not too keen about. And here we have the base of the tank. The last bit is to find where I put the cannon and plug it in. And there we go. We've got Megatron's hover tank. This alt mode is weird. Plain and simple. It's just weird. Yes, it's obviously a tank. That I don't have a problem with. I think as a tank, it looks okay. The thing I really don't like about this is the fact it has no wheels. It is supposed to be a hover tank at all times, which is not accurate to the source material. He was a hover tank at times, yes, but that's when the tank was strafing side to side and boosting forward. But he had treads. He could move. And the original 2010 figure had the option of either having the treads out and having wheels on it, or having the treads folded up and it be a hover tank. I think this tank mode looks a little bit better, but it's missing a fundamental function. It's not fun to slide it on the ground. It really needed some wheels inside these thrusters. I would love it if a third-party accessory company makes like little inserts that you could put into these thrusters that add some wheels, because that would be great. And it would also prevent the shoulder and the arm underneath from rubbing up against. From the top, the tank mode looks fine. It's not the most game-accurate tank mode, though. Taking a look at the official artwork and then comparing that to this figure, you can see that some of this is exactly the way that artwork is. I think the front here with the grill or the cow catcher at the front is just perfect, and then the thrusters look like they're close, and then the spikes coming out the back look pretty close. But then the turret and the middle section of the tank look completely off, where the 2010 figure in those spots look more accurate to the artwork than this figure does, or the new one. It's just so weird. Why, yes, you can put the mace on the top of the tank mode. It looks ridiculous. Alright, size comparison time. Gamer Edition Bumblebee. Gamer Edition Barricade. I mean, look at Barricade. Its car mode is huge. Legacy Skids. Kingdom Sunstreaker. Kingdom Rhinox. Siege Scourge. And finally, Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. Now, both of these are about the same size, except if we take off the cannon barrel, you will see that it really does feel weird. How do I explain this? It just feels weird comparing these two, because Prime is, in a sense, a six-wheeled tank, where Megatron is just this hover tank, but is a lot less fun in vehicle mode. I realize I'm going to be in the minority on this opinion, because there are a lot of folks out there that absolutely freaking hate this thing. I don't hate it. I kind of like it. Yeah, it's problematic. It's got some real issues. The arm doesn't stay on, the fusion cannon sucks, and the knees don't work. But otherwise, I like it. I do. And I know that makes me a bad person, but... Alright folks, let me know what you think of Gamer Megatron down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.